Society has successfully convinced you that physical exhaustion is a badge of honor. You were programmed from a very young age to believe that the ultimate key to financial success is to wake up early, put your head down, and outwork everyone else in the room. But the clinical, undeniable truth of the global elite is deeply uncomfortable. Hard work, physical effort, and grinding every single day is the absolute worst wealth strategy ever engineered in human history. If hard work actually equated to financial wealth, the people doing the heaviest lifting, the construction workers, the factory employees, the line cooks, would be the billionaires of our society. But they are not. The modern economic system has manufactured a devastating illusion. It has romanticized the concept of the hustle to ensure that you remain too physically and mentally exhausted to ever realize that you are playing a rigged game. The global economy is currently undergoing a brutal, irreversible transition. The window to step off this hamster wheel is closing right now. If you click away from this video and choose to go back to trading your finite biological energy for a linear paycheck, you are voluntarily accepting a life sentence of financial fragility. You will spend the next 40 years sweating for an institution that harvests your prime physical years, only to discard you the moment your output declines. The cost of ignoring this reality today is the total destruction of your future sovereignty. But if you stay, I will dismantle the psychological trap of hustle culture. I will reveal the exact mathematical blueprint the 1% use to completely bypass physical effort, reject the Slowlane, and build massive, compounding equity in total silence. This is the classified architecture of asymmetric wealth that the corporate matrix desperately hopes you never discover. Why physical effort guarantees poverty. To understand why grinding every single day is mathematically destroying your future, you must analyze the fundamental equation of how you are getting paid. When you rely on physical effort or office hours to generate income, you are introducing a fatal flaw into your wealth equation, a hard mathematical cap. You only have 24 hours in a day. You need to sleep, you need to eat, and your biological body has strict physical limits. No matter how much espresso you drink, no matter how many motivational podcasts you listen to, and no matter how intensely you hustle, your input variable is finite. Author M.J. DeMarco defines this approach as the core trap of the Slowlane. When your income is intrinsically tied to your physical presence and your time, you are operating on a linear curve. You are trading a non-renewable resource, your life energy, for depreciating paper currency, and the corporate system exploits this perfectly. They buy your time at a wholesale discount and sell the output of your labor at a massive premium. This creates a terrifying reality. Grinding guarantees poverty because it leaves you with absolutely zero margin of safety. Financial psychologist Morgan Housel warns that any system relying on a single point of failure is eventually doomed to collapse. When your only mechanism for survival is your ability to physically show up and work hard, your risk is infinite. If you get sick, if you suffer an injury, or if a macroeconomic crisis forces your company to downsize, your income instantly drops to zero. You have engineered a life where you must run at top speed on a treadmill just to stay in the exact same place. You are not building wealth. You are simply managing your own survival, and you are doing it in the most exhausting, inefficient way mathematically possible. The Slowlane illusion of hard work. The tragedy of the modern middle class is that they have internalized their own exploitation. They wear their burnout as a status symbol. Open any social media platform, and you will see millions of people bragging about working 80-hour weeks, sleeping in their offices, and sacrificing their weekends to climb a corporate ladder. This is the dark reality of the modern hustle culture. It is a psychological manipulation tactic designed by the people who own the platforms and the corporations to make you feel guilty for resting. When you spend 60 to 80 hours a week grinding for a corporation, you are left with zero cognitive bandwidth. By the time you get home, you are too mentally depleted to read, to study, to build a digital asset, or to analyze the macroeconomic shifts happening around you. Your exhaustion is a feature of the system, not a bug. An exhausted, overworked employee is a compliant employee. They do not have the energy to rebel. They do not have the time to innovate, and they certainly do not have the margin to build their own escape route. The academic system trained you to wait for instructions, to follow the rules, and to believe that if you just worked hard enough, an authority figure would eventually notice you and reward you with a promotion. But the market does not care how hard you work. The market does not care how much you suffer, how many hours you stayed late, or how tired you are. The market only rewards extreme, scalable value. When you focus entirely on effort instead of leverage, you trap yourself in an endless loop of diminishing returns. You age faster, your stress compounds, and your biological health deteriorates, all while the purchasing power of your linear salary is quietly destroyed by inflation. You are sacrificing the prime decades of your human experience to defend a system that views you as nothing more than a disposable line item on a quarterly spreadsheet. The difference between earning and owning. If physical effort and long hours are guaranteed paths to burnout and poverty, how do the true elite operate? Why do they seem to possess endless free time while their net worth explodes exponentially? Because the 1% understand the fundamental difference between earning and owning. Earning is a zero-sum game. You provide labor, you get paid a wage, and the transaction is over. You must wake up the next day and perform the exact same labor to get paid again. Earning is also mathematically punished by the system. Across the globe, linear income generated by physical labor is taxed at the absolute highest possible rates. Owning, however, is a positive-sum game. The elite do not want a salary and they do not want to earn a wage. They want equity. They want to own a piece of a business, a brand, a piece of software, or a portfolio of assets. Investor Naval Ravikant identifies that true wealth is having assets that earn while you sleep. When you own equity, your wealth becomes entirely decoupled from your physical time. Your assets compound 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless of whether you are in an office, on a beach, or asleep in your bed. Furthermore, the global financial system actively rewards ownership. Capital gains, equity growth, and asset appreciation are taxed at significantly lower rates than physical labor. The elite teach their children to starve their egos and reject the traditional path of securing a high-status corporate job. They know that a prestigious job title is just rented status. It is a temporary illusion of power that disappears the moment you stop working. True power is ownership. It is the silent, invisible accumulation of equity that forces the system to work for you, rather than you bleeding your energy to work for the system. Asymmetric wealth versus linear salaries. To escape the endless loop of the corporate hamster wheel, you must transition your mindset from linear inputs to asymmetric leverage. For the vast majority of human history, leverage required extreme privilege. You needed capital to build a massive factory, or you needed the charisma and permission to hire thousands of laborers. If you were born without money or status, your only option for survival was to sell your physical effort. But as Naval Ravikant points out, the internet has completely annihilated the old gatekeepers. We now live in an era of permissionless leverage. The ultimate wealth-building tools today are code and media. Software, algorithms, digital content, and decentralized brands are armies of invisible, tireless soldiers. They do not sleep. They do not complain about working conditions. They do not require a corporate HR department. And most importantly, they scale infinitely with zero marginal cost. You write a piece of code once, and it can be executed by millions of people simultaneously. You record a piece of media once, and it can be consumed globally forever. This is the definition of asymmetry. Your input, the time it takes to create the asset, is fixed, but your output, the potential financial return, is infinite. When you spend your weekends grinding at a second job to earn an extra few $100s, you are playing a linear game. When you spend that exact same weekend learning how to code, studying market psychology, or building a digital product, you are building a compounding machine. You are acquiring the ultimate form of leverage that requires absolutely no one's permission. You do not need a university degree, you do not need a manager's approval, and you do not need millions of dollars in venture capital to build a digital empire in total silence. Stepping off the corporate hamster wheel. The greatest intrinsic value of capital has nothing to do with buying luxury cars, signaling your success on social media, or proving to your family that your hard work paid off. The highest, most profound dividend that money pays is the ability to give you absolute, unyielding control over your own time. As Morgan Housel observes, true wealth is waking up every morning with the sovereign power to say, "I can do whatever I want today." It is the ability to walk away from a toxic environment, to reject an abusive manager, and to completely insulate your physical and mental health from the chaotic demands of a collapsing corporate economy. When you allow the illusion of hustle culture to dictate your life, you are trading your future sovereignty for the temporary approval of a system that does not care about you. You are playing a rigged game where your physical deterioration is the exact price of admission. You must conduct a brutal audit of your reality today. Look at your calendar. Look at where your energy is flowing. Are you deploying your finite biological time to acquire decentralized assets that buy back your freedom? Or are you blindly running on a treadmill, grinding yourself into dust just to maintain a lifestyle you barely have the time to enjoy? Poverty is not just a lack of money. Poverty is the chronic, inescapable exhaustion of trading your life for survival. Wealth is a proactive clinical architecture designed for absolute sovereignty. Stop glorifying your own exhaustion. Starve your ego. Step off the hamster wheel. Acquire code, build media, and construct your permissionless leverage in total silence. Become the architect of your own escape. Hit the subscribe button to join the minority building true financial sovereignty. But before you go, the debate is open. Be brutally honest. Is grinding 60 hours a week actually building your net worth, or is it just making your boss richer while you slowly burn out? Defend your reality in the comments below. Let's see who actually understands the math of the trap. Master your mind. Build your system. See you in the next protocol.